Boom! What's going on, everyone? It's Rama Mustafa.
It's Emmanuel Hope.
And it's the Ends to Excellence podcast. Woo. Yo. Today we have a special guest with us.
In the building.
Yes. We have Pilar Nalwimba. Welcome. No round of applause, no?
Oh.
You're boying it.
This is what happens when you come on your friend's podcast and they're too familiar.
Mad.
She's a star now. So.
I'm telling you, celebrity.
I should have been frustrating for you.
So mad. But yeah, so for all those that don't know, Pilar is the co-host and co-producer of Radio 1's The Reality T podcast. And when she's not talking on about reality shows, she's a director and social media strategy lead for a marketing agency called Hybrid. So yes, welcome to the podcast, Pilar. We appreciate you. I'm telling you, big boss, director in that.
Okay. Oh, you guys are so silly, but thank you for having me.
We appreciate you.
I got the call, guys.
Hey.
Been a long time coming. Do you know what I mean?
No, we should have got you on earlier still, but no, we appreciate you coming. You've been busy to be honest.
Oh, okay. But, I see what we're doing here.
Wow. So one of the first things we ask our guests is, what ends are you from, Pilar?
Oh my gosh, so I live in Croydon.
Is that where you're from?
What ends are you from?
What ends are you
where
from?
Did you grow up?
We really do this.
Yeah.
It's about to be a therapy session.
we ask all our guests the same question.
Yeah.
So I moved to Croydon maybe about 7 years ago.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say I grew up there because obviously by the time I got there, I'm grown, innit? I'm a fully grown woman.
Hopefully.
Where did you grow up?
I spent a majority of oh my gosh.
Wow.
When you say where you grew up, do you mean like college or uni or
what place do you represent?
Or like school?
Let's say school. Your formative years, your teens.
Your
teens all the way to uni.
Well, basically, I'll tell you all the places I've lived, right?
Wow.
I have lived.
Do you want people to know your location history, your address?
No, it's true. So
one place that pops into your mind that represents
so it would probably
where you're
be
from.
I was in like Streatham Vale, Mitcham.
So so what? Where Dave's from? Yeah. Dave. His ends.
Grew up in Streatham.
Yeah, there you go. Right, come on, Streatham. And what industry would you say you're excelling in right now?
So I've worked in social media for the past, I'd say 10 years. It's been 10 years.
Veteran.
It's been 10 years.
Dope.
So yeah, and then I'm a newbie. I'm a podcast newbie.
Award-winning podcast.
Yeah, a lot has happened in a short time.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's start at the beginning. Like, how did your journey start? How did you get into what you do now?
Well, the journey started in Brunel. Brunel?
What?
I actually did a podcast today with Nas from Love Island, and he went to Brunel as well.
Oh, wow.
Swear.
Yeah. But he came out with a first. I know he wasn't in the academy like the rest of us.
Wow.
How old is
So obviously it started in Brunel. And I think we have to shout out Brunel because it's given us a lot of... I think Brunel kind of created this hustle culture. I would say it's not the sole reason, but it's a big reason for why I feel a lot of our generation have this kind of hustle mentality, go out, do your own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to shout out some people from there because it was the ACS really had us all thinking that we could be the next Bill Gates.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Because I think like, especially there is no industry you go into that there is not somebody from Brunel.
That we know, yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think Brunel played a massive part in breeding hustle culture within me.
So what did you study in Brunel? Or how did you even get into Brunel? Like, let's start there.
How did I get in? Like the rest of you guys with my...
what did you study?
Like A-levels.
Oh, my A-levels. I did business, English Lit and Lang, media. Did I do media? I can't remember. Maybe I did psychology. And at one stage I did dance AS.
That's a lot of club. That's like 6. Is that 5?
I did 5.
Business.
And dropped 1.
I did 5 and I left with 4 A-levels.
Got you. Okay.
Oh, cool. Well done.
It's 5 ASs.
So what did you?
Yeah, put some respect on my name, man.
You
better put some respect on my name.
Don't worry,
You've been sending me shade since I arrived today, but put some respect on my name. How many ACSs do you have?
It's not about
A-levels.
Yeah.
A-levels.
It's your shit.
A-levels.
It's your shit.
But yeah, so what did you study in uni after that?
So I started out studying business management with marketing.
Okay.
And then I decided that I didn't like the marketing. I thought it was a pretty easy course.
Right.
And I thought, let me switch to business management with accounting.
Okay.
So what a lot of people don't know is I actually have an accounting degree.
Dope.
I mean, I did. You see? You see this? This is how you want to treat your guests.
It's a genuine question.
This is how you want to treat your guests. Like, you get worry about your own bag.
I wish you were interviewing me.
Worry about your own
I
bag.
wish you was interviewing me.
Worry about your own bag. Share the bag. Share the bag you secured.
It's okay. Continue.
You have
And
an accounting degree, girl.
yeah, I've got an accounting degree. And what I did is I did a sandwich course. So in my year out of the accounting degree, I decided like, yo, these numbers ain't for me. And this is not what I want to, I'm not trying to go to Canary Wharf.
Got you.
So I remember on my gap year, I had emailed bare places like media. I thought I wanted to get into PR, like marketing. So I'd be like, hey guys, give me an internship, give me an internship. And I secured an internship with Warner Music. And I remember it was like, I did my interview literally like while we were doing our exams.
Oh, wow.
And I got a call from the guy. His name was Adrian. I'll never forget. And he worked in HR. He said, hi, I got an email from you. What do you want?
What?
And I was like, oh, I'm just looking for an internship. I've got a year out and I need somewhere to like work.
Yeah.
And he was like, we don't do that over here. Bye. So I was like, okay,
Right.
bye. I remember taking that call in the library at Brunel.
Yeah.
And then like 10 minutes later, I got another call back from him. He goes, hey, yeah, I've just had a call from the guy in artist relations. He needs someone on Monday. Can you start on Monday?
Right.
I was like, yes. And then I went there for the interview. The dog chased me down, yeah. And if you know my fear of dogs, yeah, I thought I have fumbled this interview. Like, so I went on this interview, and then he was like, okay, I'll be gone for 2 weeks. I'll let you know. And then 2 weeks later, I got the call, and then 2 weeks turned into a year.
Wow.
But it was a year unpaid.
Okay.
And I remember everyone else in my accounting course went to Canary Wharf and got like 35K in it.
Securing the bar.
They secured, and my girl was on zero, yeah? I was on zero. I was on expenses.
Got you. I was about to ask, how did you manage? Yeah.
I stayed in my mum's house.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't lie, I was real slim though, because there was just no money for food. And that's why I realised, you know what causes the fupa is when you've got a bit of money, because you can now afford the Deliveroo, the Uber Eats, and you get the fupa.
Wow.
Whereas I was fupa free during my internship year. But you know what? I didn't get paid, but I would go on record saying that was one of my best years ever.
Oh, wow.
Like, I learned so much. That unpaid year changed my perspective on life.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you learn in that year?
I learned again, it's an extension of the hustle mentality and the hustle culture, right? Because there's two types of, I think maybe there's three types of people.
Right.
There's people that have ideas and want to do stuff, and I think that's the majority of people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's people that will act on that idea, but act on it just a touch.
Got you.
I want to do this. Let me message someone. Let me do this. Then there's people that will go in, right? And those are the people that I was surrounded with, because when you're working in the music industry, it's like it's very competitive, right?
Yeah.
And also these people know how to blag.
Got you.
Right.
So they're on every guest list. So I realized, me too. If I want to go and have fun that they're all having, and some people like took me under their wing, right?
Yeah.
So then I remember, because I wasn't getting paid. I remember one time they'd invited me. Oh, we're going for a gig, so the gig tickets would be free, right? Because obviously you work for a record company, you get tickets for free. And they said, oh, let's go to dinner first. And I remember just trying to order water because I didn't have money.
Wow.
And then the girl must have clocked, because she's obviously been there, done that. She said,
Yeah.
Pilar, it's on the company Amex, it's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I relaxed.
You say you got the lobster, yeah?
Yeah,
The
listen.
Popo came
You know them ones you're ordering from the menu. There were so many times I'd order from the menu and I wouldn't even know what the food is.
Yeah.
But my manager was so good. Like, if I started, like, I remember, is it gnocchi? I'd be like, can I have the gnocchi? Like,
Mad.
I like, can I have the gnocchi? Or there's times like you're at this thing for a work thing, and then there's just bare knives and forks, and you're just like, so they would see me,
How do you
and
start?
yeah, he'd be like, the one on the right. I'd be like, okay.
Mad.
Like it just propels you into another world. And when you see people like blagging this, that, and that, it teaches you something about life, right? Is that you don't get what you don't ask for.
Got you.
So that's what I left with. And when you're fresh out of things like university, school, you haven't really faced rejection, right?
Yeah.
So because you haven't faced rejection, you have all the energy to ask for anything. And I was seeing these people ask for stuff and get it. Oh, they want Beyonce tickets, someone's giving it to them. They want to go and see Jay-Z, someone's giving them tickets. So I was like, okay, this is what I need to be doing now. Oh, they want to be an A&R. They go out to gigs and find an artist and come and pitch an artist. Do you know what I mean? They want to do PR. They just start working for their friend who's a singer and starting to get them in magazines. I was like, rah, these people just go out and ask for stuff. Yeah. And then that's when I realized that, okay, me too. I want to, go out and ask for stuff. Yeah. And that's what it really taught me. And it sounds so small, like asking, but do you know how many of us carry so much pride that we're so scared to ask for things? Yeah. Even simple help from your friend. Even simple, you might be broke and you are really just there, like you just be eating baked beans because you're scared to ask for money. Do you know what I mean? But asking for stuff is probably the biggest thing I learned.
Got you.
And how to blag, obviously.
Okay.
Got you. So after doing that for a year, I'm assuming you went back to uni.
Yeah, I didn't want to, but I went.
Okay, just to finish it off.
I was lost in the sauce.
Mad. So, okay, fair. So you finished it, and then what was your next step?
So I finished that, and I tried to apply for like loads of music industry jobs, and I just didn't get anything. Okay. The only one that I got, because I was planning not to go back to uni, the only one that I got was 2 days a week. And that was for another record company, Universal Music, for Geffen Records. So I applied for that. It was 2 days a week. So I got that and I went back to uni because it made sense with the... So the accounting degree in the end was a blessing in disguise because it's the only one that gave you days off.
Oh, right.
Whereas the marketing was full time.
Got you.
It was like they were there all the time. So where I thought I would need to miss some lectures, I didn't need to. The 2 days, I just worked the 2 days around.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I went back, but at least I went back skinny.
So how come they didn't offer you to stay longer than a year, or for you to come back after uni?
They kept me as long as they could, so they kept me longer than the year. And as soon as my year was finished, my manager got me on he got me working through an agency and they started paying me. Right, okay. So they paid me for a couple of months after that. Yeah. So he extended it for as long as
they could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got you.
All right, cool. So after uni, and you finished your course or whatever, so when's your next thought of, okay, how am I going to start making money? Like, what did you start doing from there?
Well, firstly, like, I've got to be real honest. There wasn't money in that. Do you know what I mean? Okay. When you're an intern level or you're a marketing assistant level, I can't speak for in this day and age, but we're talking 2010. 2010 I graduated. 2011. Okay. 2012, those years.
Yeah.
Wow, let me not expose my age. But we're talking those years. What money? There wasn't money. It's not like...
There was a crisis.
I think I was getting paid like... My mum found one of my pay slips and she showed it to me. She found one the other day in like the basement or something, so she showed it to me. I was taking home like a couple of £100 a month. Damn. Like it was real the ghetto.
Damn.
There's no money in that stuff when I'm being honest, like there isn't one money.
So what did you start doing then?
So I kept my little 2 days a week. And
after you graduated?
After I graduated. Yeah. And then I just started, I was convinced I would get like a full-time gig. Right. In the end, I got made a redundant.
Right. Oh, man. Just to go back a bit. So what were you doing for those 2 days a week at Geffen?
I was doing social media. I was a digital marketing assistant.
Got you.
And I was updating MySpaces.
Got you.
And I was coordinating with like digital companies that would be making websites or assets for us.
Got you.
So yeah.
But you weren't doing that in your year internship. So what made you apply for that role?
Because...
And how did you get into that? Yeah.
One, it was the only thing going for me. And 2, like, I was always on Twitter.
Got you.
As soon as they announced what Spotify was, I signed up.
Got you.
So it made sense. Like, I knew all of that stuff. I was on Twitter. I knew what Spotify was. Do you know what I mean? I was active. Like, I was aware of Bebo. I was aware of MySpace. So it just made sense to me. It's not something that I had planned to do. So I was like, okay, this is there. I know this. I sat down. I went and asked. Again, the asking thing. There was, because once you start going out and you meet people, so I met a couple of people and I just went up to her and I said, hey, I'm applying for this role. And it turned out the woman who was hiring for the job was a woman I had met. She used to work there.
Sick.
So I was like, oh, I'm interviewing with your friend and I know you do this job.
Dope.
Can you give me some advice? She basically helped me set up my presentation for the interview. I walked in and got it straight away.
Sick.
Wow.
That's favor, boy. So, so you're saying this is like 2010, 2011. And now doing that role, that's big business now. Like, that's an industry on its own. So by chance, you ended up doing this thing because you were aware of these social media platforms.
Yeah. And I did my dissertation on how the internet changed the music industry.
Sick.
Dope.
Even though I did an accounting degree.
Wait, yeah, right. That's wild.
So after obviously being made redundant, you've graduated. So what next?
So I was there for a little while, but while I was there, I was only there 2 days a week, and then how do I say this? I don't know if this bit is important or not.
Everything.
It's your story.
It's your story.
So I remember I got called into the office and he was like, Pilar, we're thinking about maybe you don't need to be in the office anymore. Why don't you set up as a freelancer or as your own business and we'll give you the work from there. And I was like, no, I don't really want to do that because I don't want to, I want to be in the office with other people. I don't want to work on my own. And now I look back, I was like, am I dumb? I was in my feelings, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I did do is I kept that 2 days a week. And then the other, when you're out and about, you meet people. I picked up some clients.
Got you.
I had like 2 other clients.
Well, you just pick up clients. Like
Clients for what?
Like for what? How did you find them? Like,
One girl, I met her at Carnival.
Wow.
Because you know when you're now, when you get into those things, people have like these crews, these cliques, not crews and cliques, but you just meet like a group of women, right?
Okay.
And I started hanging out with this group of women. And then through this group of women, I met other women. I met this woman that does PR.
Okay.
And everyone will ask, what do you do? What do you do?
Right,
Right?
yeah.
You know, when you go to these things, sometimes people, before they even ask your name, oh, what do you
So
do?
you're unintentionally networking.
Yeah,
Got
you're
you.
unintentionally networking. And I met her at Carnival. And she's like, oh, what you do? And I told her what I did. And she goes, okay, I'm working on this book. She worked for a PR company. She said she was working for this book. And it was a coffee table book about the history of hip hop.
sick.
So she said, do you want to do it? And I said, yeah. And she asked, okay, how much are you going to charge? I had no idea.
Wow.
So I just plucked one number out of the air.
Yeah.
And then I realized I went in so low.
Mad.
I went in so low. I went in about like £700 a month when I realized I could have like really double, triple. But I didn't know anything. Do you know what I mean? They just said yes instantly. I was like, okay. But I met this guy at Carnival.
Mad.
And then I was trying, my sister sings. So I was trying to help my sister with her group. So I would email like producers. And I remember I'd emailed Da Vinci. And I said, hey, do you want to work with my sister's group? Like they can sing. I think he must have sent it to his manager. And his manager messaged me and said, come in for a meeting. I thought I was going there to pitch my sister's group.
Yeah.
And she was like, so what do you do? So I told her what I do. She's like, oh yeah, come in. We've got this other artist. So then I had 2 clients.
Mad.
Wow. Straight away.
But
Your
yeah.
sister the group didn't bang. Well, the group didn't bang.
He gave them one song though. They went.
Okay.
They supported Neo on tour.
Okay,
Dope.
fair enough.
So
Dope, dope.
everyone has their own journey in it.
There you go. So you've started this freelancer business. You picked up 2 clients. So how did you find that experience of freelancing with these clients and working for the music company?
Oh, it was fine. Like the music company, like they didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care. I was just a nobody.
So wait, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you to dial it back. So now you've picked up clients. Is this through so you've had to set up your own business?
At the time, I hadn't. I was.
So how was you getting paid through by finding your own clients?
Me, I would just send. I
Cash
didn't
in
even know
hand.
what an invoice was, innit? I would send an invoice. One woman, she used to pay me by check.
Wow.
She would give me a check, and I would go to the bank.
Okay.
I'd go to the bank and I would cash it out.
So it's
So this
almost
is-
cash
And I
in
had to wait 5 days for that money to clear.
hand. I hear those days.
This is early days, but
Yeah, like she would give me a check, and the other one, I think they just paid me into my account. I remember I'd gone to Miami with the girls, right? And I'd spent everything I had, and when I came back, that check cleared. I was like, oh,
Nice.
thank God.
Wow. Brought you back to life.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank God, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have a thing until I got made redundant. When I got made redundant,
Yeah.
that's when I had to set up properly.
Okay. So what age was you when you started setting up your company?
Are we really doing this?
Oh, okay. I mean, we're just trying to figure out.
No, I was 20. I was 25.
So you must have been quite young.
25, no experience really, like
Yeah.
nothing over an assistant. Do you know what I mean? And I decided, am I gonna apply? I remember there were some jobs I even turned down because I don't know why. Like when you look back and things, you're like, why did I do that? Like I don't know why I did that, because really, if I'd done that, I'd probably be. You know, sometimes you look back and you think, if I had done that, I'd be further enough. But really and truly, everything works out in the way it's meant to work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hadn't taken those jobs, and I just was at home, and I was just like, do you know what? Let me just do my own thing, and not take another music industry job. I was so like hurt from the redundancy.
Yeah.
I remember that time I got made redundant, student finance hadn't been taking any money from me, but that redundancy payment, they took half.
Mad.
I was so, I was
Just claimed it.
so hurt, yeah.
Mad.
And you know when you're young, like everything feels so personal.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it felt so personal. And
That they were making you redundant, like as if it wasn't about them losing money or anything. It's like they want you out or something like that.
yeah, but they shut down the whole thing, but they
Yeah.
carried a lot of people on, and I wasn't on that list.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's what I was
So,
like.
yeah, maybe it is a bit
I was,
personal.
I was so hurt, boy. I was really, it was a real tragedy. I thought my life had come to an end.
Yeah.
Because you've been living in this bubble for a little while, and then
Yeah.
it's taken away from you.
Poof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you start. So how did you
Bounce back. What was the
bounce
next
back?
step?
Like, what was it? So you're saying you started a company. How was that for you in terms of?
So I took a
mechanics.
bit of time out. I took like a year out. I decided to do a hair company
Okay.
with a friend. We just went to South Africa for we'd start this business.
Yeah.
Hustle.
And obviously that flopped.
Oh, man.
And then I came back and I was like, oh shit, I better do something. And I was like, well, let me go back to what I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, remember I had those 2 clients, it was pop-in or whatever. So I just, I read this book called The 4-Hour Work Week.
Right.
What's his name again? Have you guys read it?
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. I read The 4-Hour Work Week, and it was talking about the power of outsourcing. At the time, it was Odesk.
Okay.
Odesk was this platform that you could outsource your work to. So the premise of having a 4-hour work week is this: he had this business, and he could basically just live on a beach, and he only had to work for 4 hours a week because he outsourced his work to experts.
Yeah.
And reading this book, I was like, wow. And it made me think, no, I can't be the person that outsources the work to experts, but I can be one of those experts. Because
you.
what I realized through that is the music industry was one of the first industries heavily affected by the internet, right?
Yeah.
And social media.
Yeah.
So that means I was very early
Yeah.
into the social media game.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself after reading this book that it's only a matter of time before restaurants need it,
Yeah.
before corporate companies need it, before businesses need it.
Yeah.
So I went on to Odesk and signed myself up as a person willing to
Provide services.
provide services, yeah.
Dope.
But it didn't work for me.
Oh.
Because I was getting outpriced by everybody in India and Thailand.
Oh,
man.
right.
Okay.
So it wasn't working for me, but I found an equivalent called People Per Hour.
Yeah.
So I signed up to People Per Hour, and basically I was selling my services for cheap, yeah. I undercut everybody. I was selling my social media like for £25 a week. I will write you 2 tweets a day.
Oh, right. That's
So-
light though.
That's all right.
And so I said, okay, but then I became like one
Yeah.
of their best sellers.
Got you.
Yeah.
To the point that when their social media person was leaving, she contacted me and was like, I want you to pitch to take over the
This
To
role.
be at people per hour.
yeah,
Sick.
to take them on as a client. So I did
Dope.
that.
That's
Dope.
dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So, and how long did you do that for?
Did
Work
that for about 3 years.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Not
So-
just them, I had like a range of clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just started upping my prices.
Yeah.
So at first I was working for a measly £100 a month, right?
Yeah.
For these little clients. And then when I got them, you have to add the zeros.
Yeah.
So then I added a zero on that. Do you
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to say?
Secured the
Yeah.
bug.
And then while I was working for them, this advertising agency contacted me and he was like, hey, I need somebody. on the Monday. And I was like, what is this? He said, I need someone to come into the office. I was like, I don't do
walk-ins.
I don't go into people's offices. I just work from my little bedroom. Do you know what I mean? I just... And then I remember speaking to my friend at the time, and she worked in advertising. She was like, oh, how's it going? I was like, yeah, it's going all right. I was like, oh, these people asked me to come into their office. And she was like, what are they called? So then I said the name. She was like, are you mad? I was like, what? She's like, they're one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world.
Mad.
So who are these? Can you name more?
Yeah, it was BBH. So
Oh,
I was
wow,
like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, okay. And then she said, go back and ask what clients you'd work with. So I went back and I was like, hi. So what clients do you work with? And they came back saying, yeah, like KFC, Mentos, Tesco.
Damn.
Cool.
I was like, on the Sunday, I remember.
I'll see you on Monday.
On the Sunday, I was literally like, do you still need me tomorrow? I can come. And then he said, yeah, like, so then there was a bit of a discrepancy about my rate because I had my hourly rate on this people per hour.
Oh.
Yeah? And he said, so she had told me, isn't it, like, go in big.
Yeah.
They're big. So I quoted him a day rate.
Yeah.
And I never knew what a day rate was,
Yeah.
So he was like, but how come your hourly rate on this, there's this? I was like, well, that's because it's from home. But if you want me in your office, it costs more.
Sure.
Jeez.
And then he actually said yes.
Of course.
So that one day turned to 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then they called me back again. That 2 weeks turned to 6 weeks, which ended up turning to like 6-7 months. 8 months, I think it was.
Sick.
And I was like, wow. But while I did that, the clients was too much for me to handle. It was too much work because now I've gone from doing that to being in someone's office and I couldn't handle my clients.
Yeah.
Got you.
So as a result, I lost people per hour as a client.
I see.
Because you already know entrepreneurs, especially for startups, and especially for a startup that's a mature startup. So as in like they're really out here, they have like 1 million users, right? So they're demanding, and I couldn't do both.
Got you.
But it was important for me to take that because I had to learn how to level up. Because I was working with small businesses, startups, but I was missing music I was missing the media industry so much. I don't think you guys understand. I just felt like
Tell us.
like I was happy. Like
Yeah.
I've got this little thing going on.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I missed the fun stuff because I was doing like restaurants,
Yeah.
you know. Even one point I did like some holiday places in like Devon and this and that. Very unsexy, you know?
Okay.
And the tech stuff was cool. Like I liked the tech stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll just be watching all my old friends living their best life on
the perks,
Facebook.
basically.
Got you.
I
The
missed
perks.
the perk. They were at parties, they were this, and there I was in my bedroom,
Yeah.
just banging out.
So how
tunes.
did you handle spinning plates then? Did you have to get someone else in, or what did you do?
How to handle what? Sorry?
Spinning plates,
All the
all the
clients.
clients.
So I had at that point I had 2 people working for me.
Wow.
Okay.
Employees.
So you had employees at
I
the
had
stage. So
2.
you was a business owner with 2 employees.
Yeah, but one of them it was
25
too
or
early onboarding for me to leave. Does that make sense?
No.
They had like imagine someone joins and within their first 3 months I'm out.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
There's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Like I was getting anxiety.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't handle it. You know when they say like, oh, when your plate is full, don't complain when your plate is full because that's always what you wanted. But your plate can't be full until you have the right processes in place.
Yeah.
And I was too immature to know that I was too early in my journey to really understand business.
Right.
I understood. I knew how to pitch to get a client.
But to maintain it is different.
To maintain it with like business, I was too early in the game to know how to do that. I really fumbled the bag. I fucked it up so badly because I didn't know how to. Because I had this person in, she was new, and I hired her because I liked how her Instagram looked.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then before do you know what I mean? I hired her because I knew her. She's good, but I wasn't there to nurture and for her to understand. Whereas the other girl was like a star that just knew things, but then she couldn't talk to clients.
Got you.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? You know, some people are not client-facing people.
Yeah.
So then what that left me was then they would be able to do the work, but then I would still have to deal with my clients whilst being in a client's office.
Yeah.
Got you.
And imagine I'd be in a pub trying to take calls at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you know, Oxford Circus is a busy place, so it's loud and there's like, there's background noise.
Got you.
Like, can you not go to a meeting
Meeting
room?
room, yeah.
What meeting room do I have? I'm in a pub, mate. The pub was actually the quietest because people are not day drinking on a Tuesday.
Got
Do
you.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd have to take my lunches at different times. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, they were trying to get rid of me because they were like, "You're not."
Who was trying to get rid of you?
My other clients, because they were like, "You're not, you're not there when we need you. Like the work's getting done, but sometimes we need someone to talk to physically.
Sure.
Like a client should be able to pick up the phone." And then I had two people there. One of them was scared of clients, and the other one was just too new to represent properly. And then I was probably also a bit too hands-on, like a bit too controlling over the matter. So really and truly, it was my fault. Like then
It was a recipe to.
It was a recipe for disaster, mate. But on the other hand, I was in this new place again, and I'd worked alone for so long.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's like to work with people.
Oh, right.
Things like small talk, I forgot. Things like banter, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I know that sounds mad, but
No,
you get what I'm
no,
saying?
no. Yeah.
I didn't know how to banter. And then people from different backgrounds, I was struggling.
Fair. But
I had to relearn.
so as far as you having your two employees and that whole experience, what did you learn from that, like going forward?
Oh my gosh, I learned processes is the most important thing ever. I've learned that you need to have a proper hiring process as well. So you need to have a hiring process. You need to have a process for onboarding new clients. You need to have a process for onboarding new employees. You need to, you need to make sure there is someone to do the work and someone to speak to the client. You need an account manager and maybe a community manager. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or if you're putting that role in one, it's like a social media manager, someone who could manage the content and someone who can communicate that effectively to a client.
Yeah.
I just learned so much. I learned not to do my invoices late. I learned I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I was terrible. I was a joke.
So then how did that phase end?
That phase ended with eventually I made a very difficult decision to shut it down.
Okay.
Well, not to shut it down, but to shut it down in the way it was working. I was just like, do you know what? I can make the same with less stress, just working for one client.
Yeah.
Got you.
And I chose to do that.
Okay, so explain to us the dynamics of shutting down your own business.
It was like a breakup.
So as in you had to let go of your employees, you had to
Yeah, I
tell
let go of
the
the
clients
employees.
which you
I
had
remember
at
the
the time.
first person I had to fire, I felt that in my chest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I felt it in my chest. I think I even, because when you've got no one to answer to, I remember I'd finished my contract then, I was back at home.
Yeah.
When you've got no one to answer to, you can spend the day in bed when you feel a bit depressed.
Yeah.
So I fired her and I was the one depressed.
Wow. And then you still had clients at the time, you had to let them
Yeah,
go
so
and
then I
everything
let
like
one go and then one stayed with me. And then I got a call from ITV, like, oh, come in.
that. Yeah.
We've got this show.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I went. And then in the process of that was ad hoc, in, out. I started really enjoying that. And I just made the decision, like, I think this might be regular. And even if it's not regular, I know I can maneuver.
Yeah.
So let me get rid of these last two.
Yeah.
I had cut it down to two. And those were the two. I kept those two because I liked them.
Got you.
Like I had a personal relationship with I was personally invested in the success of that business, so I kept them, and I just kept her doing that. And then, and those they were fine with the communication. So I went back. I was like, I reworked everything. I was like, okay, this is the process. This is how it's going to work, and they were fine. So I could basically go to work and then have someone running that, and it was absolutely fine. And at the end of the month, would send the reports, would send the invoices. Sometimes I'd jump on calls if they did them in the evening, just because I was personally invested. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And it worked fine. I'd make a bit out of it, like it's not as substantial, man, not as much as I was making. When I made the most, I was probably my unhappiest because it just felt like a shit show.
Got you.
But with that one, I was making like a decent amount from it with not much effort.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, you know what, I've got to probably make a decision here. So I made the decision, and they're still my friends to this day. Like their businesses are flourishing.
Dope.
When they have events, I'm there. Like
Dope.
I was literally at one like last week. Like, I love them so much. They've become friends, mentors to me.
Do you want to shout out the business or?
Yeah, Black British Business Awards.
Okay, cool.
It's one of them.
Cool.
Sick. But so you mentioned like sending out reports and things like that. So can you like explain what that role entails of being a social media manager and things like that? What reports are you sending? What do you do daily? Just elaborate on that.
So daily, so you get this from a client, you get a brief, and the brief will outline, okay, the objective of this campaign is to either raise awareness for this TV show, raise awareness for this product, or just communicate what we're doing to our audience, or maybe it is to nurture the audience, speak to the audience, and that would be the brief.
Right.
And then from the brief, you come up with an idea or a strategy of how you would effectively do that using social media.
Okay.
And then you give that, they sign off. And once they've signed off, then you work on creating like a content plan.
Yeah.
So that is, okay, this is going to go out on Twitter, this is going out on Facebook, this is
Yeah.
going out on Instagram, or
Yeah.
maybe it's just an Instagram campaign, maybe it's just LinkedIn, maybe it's just Pinterest, or now
Yeah.
there's Triller, there's TikTok,
Yeah.
or whatever. And then you make the, you work with like an editor to make video content, because video is growing now.
Yeah.
You always write the copy.
Got you.
And then you, once it's signed off, you post away, and then you have to report either at the end of the week or the end of the month, like how successful what you've done has been against their objective. And then if you're doing stuff in TV, it's a bit different. You've got a live tweet.
Right.
So when there's like a TV show, you're live tweeting.
So you're actually the one who's tweeting.
Yeah.
You personally?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. If you work for the channel, I worked for the channel, so I'd live tweet from the channel. If you work for the show, you live tweet from the show account. So there's two
Okay.
different accounts.
Got you.
So yeah, you'd be at home and you'd be like, bah, bah.
So some people are just atting you thinking that you're
Oh,
an old white man
100%.
and stuff like that.
Listen. one time Black Twitter came for me, but it was work. It was so funny.
Wow, what happened?
I used the term. We'd used the term sassy
Okay.
on one of the black girls.
Yeah.
But she actually what the public didn't know, she refers to herself as sassy.
Got
So
you.
they were like, microaggression.
Oh, right.
Right.
They're coming for you.
Can you imagine my whole office was looking at me like, as the only black girl, like,
What did you
and I can't lie, I was at home like refreshing to see the comments, and my chest would hurt every moment I
Mad.
refreshed.
Mad.
It was very tense. I just couldn't wait till the next person made the fuck up so that it could just go off me and onto another person.
Yeah.
So oh sorry, are we allowed to swear?
Of course you can.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
sure,
fine.
sure.
So working in ITV, like what was that experience like? Obviously, you were used to working in music and you enjoyed it, and now you've gone into television. Like, how was that for you?
It was so good, because remember I said to you guys, like, I was missing media.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was at Thingy, it was fine. Like,
So what's Thingy?
at BBH,
Yeah.
at the advertising agency. It was
Yeah.
essential learning for me.
Yeah.
But I was really writing food tweets for Tesco.
Right,
Do you get what I'm
okay.
trying to
Got
say?
you.
Again, that's not very sexy. And I'm still watching my friends do enjoyment on Instagram. And now they've introduced Instagram stories. So now you want to make me feel worse about my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was my old life. You know, that was where you're just
Yeah.
reminiscing. That's my old life. I missed an element of that. So TV was the perfect way back in.
Got you.
And I felt like, oh my gosh, I've been given another chance. Like, because the great thing about that was it was corporate, but it had an element of entertainment.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't fully entertainment-y, but it was enough to give me that taste back into being into entertainment.
Got you.
And I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Got you. And what other thing you mentioned tweeting on the ITV channel account?
Yeah.
You worked some programs as well.
Yeah. So when you're on the channel account, you tweet any programs that are on. So some campaigns there'd be a specific team that works on it. So like Love Island, we were part of a specific team that worked on that for ITV2.
Okay.
And we were quite instrumental for bringing through like a youthful voice,
Right.
a youthful tone of
Yeah,
voice,
yeah.
using, language of the internet, language of Twitter, shall
Yeah.
we say, as they would say. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But also there'll be times you'd be tweeting shows like 100-year-old driver.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be versatile
Yeah.
to tweet across the board. And that was great in terms of testing the skills. And sometimes it'll be a food show and I'll be like, yes, let me flex my food show thing. But it was a learning curve. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're like in a team with older, more experienced people that have been doing that for time, and you haven't touched entertainment for a long time, like you shake for a while, but it took a while, but eventually I found my voice.
Excellent. That's dope. So,
And what I got from being in those places is like, why am I the only black girl?
So
Do you
what,
get
what's
what
it?
I'm
What is
saying?
it made up of? Like the demograph behind the screen of all these Twitter handles. Like what is it like?
I've always been the only black girl.
No, but as in,
Outside
apart
of-
from
outside
you,
of
no, I
music.
mean
Yeah,
apart from
no,
you,
outside- yeah.
what's the demographic? In? Are they all white 30-year-old men?
Yeah, majority white men. 30 is actually too young. They're older.
Really?
Yeah, 30 is young. They're older.
tweeting. Twitter fingers.
Listen, but but you can. That's
Yeah, yeah.
everyone can change their voice. That's what
Yeah.
that's what you're meant to do.
Right.
So surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. I'm so surprised.
Yeah, and it's a whole team. Like it's you guys tweeting your creatives. That's your role. Your social
Right.
creatives.
Okay. Cool.
And
So
then,
that's what the department will be now. So it's a social creative. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, you'd be a social creative.
Yeah.
And then there's like producers. It's a whole production, fam. One tweet,
Mad.
The only time you got real like where you didn't have to get approval is when you live tweet. When you live tweet, you
Yeah, you
can
can
go
just do what
bam,
you
you
want.
can just go in
Yeah.
it. But when you get that call to delete a tweet, then you know.
Mad. Must have been a spicy tweet.
It must have been a spot. I think I've only got 2 calls to delete tweets.
Mad.
Oh,
Mad.
really? Okay.
So you mentioned being the only black female. Like, how did you cope with that in your workplace?
Well, I've mentioned names now, so I can't really say.
Sorry. Is this your current job now, or?
No, but
No,
they're all
ITV.
over my Instagram,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
They're all over my Instagram.
Alright, cool.
The- if I didn't mention names, I would
Okay.
be honest.
Generally working in industry.
How do you find
How
it?
do you find kind of work you being maybe the minority in different industry scenarios?
I'll tell you what I learned, right? I learned 2 things. I learned the men are always getting paid more if you're, especially if you're a freelancer. My advice is, if you're a freelancer on a day rate, what I learned the hard way is, first of all, the men were getting paid more. Secondly, the more once we learnt that, 2 of us learned that together, we were like, we're changing our rate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the incorrect way to do it.
Right.
Because
Okay.
we went in, I think them lot were on like, it was something like £100 more a day.
Yeah.
And then by the time we went in there demanding,
Yeah.
it was just like, when the person breaks it down to you, that if you were a permanent member of staff, what you're asking for is like a 300% increase,
Yeah.
Got you.
150% increase.
Yeah.
Got you.
That is impossible in the way in which it works. And there was a young guy there who's probably on less than everyone, but we were told that he would do 6 months incremental increases.
Sick.
And it's not that you don't ask for a pay rise when you're a freelancer. You say to them, my day rate has changed to this. And that was the biggest learning curve
Right.
for me. So
So what was the outcome of that conversation?
we got an increase, but it wasn't the increase we wanted.
Right,
It was
okay.
like £10 less or something. But
Yeah.
that little £10 adds up across a
alright.
month. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we got an increase.
Yeah.
We didn't get a match, but you know,
But you realized there was a better strategy towards
there
doing
was
it.
a better strategy to do it.
Right. Okay.
And then the other thing I learned, and I'm quite proud of myself because is to speak up when you think there's an unconscious bias. You speak
Right.
up on it, and sometimes people don't like it.
Mm.
But I can now, with my chest, say that I haven't let a situation pass me by without saying something,
Dope.
and I'm proud of myself for doing that.
Sick.
And I feel like we should all do that.
Mm.
And I feel like
yeah.
if we're ever in a position as well to hire, we should be open to someone else telling us that we may be acting a certain way. So I think it's a 2-way thing. Do you know what I mean? We speak on it, and we shouldn't be too prideful to be spoken to about it.
Do you feel that's ever had an impact on your career? Speaking out on perhaps
Unconscious bias.
unconscious bias or scenario where people might judge you differently.
In both instances, no, it hasn't.
Right.
But that's because I didn't speak to Sally in HR. Do you know what I mean?
Can you mention one of the instances, or is it too?
No, I can't because I've mentioned so many names. I can't. But one of them, like we're good. Like we don't work together anymore.
Yeah.
We're good friends. Do you know what I mean?
Got you.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when you're speaking up to an unconscious bias thing, holler at a friend who works in HR before you do it. That's what I did.
Okay.
And my friend advised me.
Yeah. Okay.
What did they advise you?
On one of them, my friend advised me don't reply.
Okay.
Because she said she said, you spoke to them in person. They've messaged you on email. They're trying to cover their backs by the way that they've worded it. So don't reply because you're not confirming or denying it.
Got you.
So then you left them sweating.
Mad. Techers, yeah. That's dope.
That was one of them. And on the other one, and then the other thing is I always double check, because the other one, it could have, sometimes it can be in your head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to cross check.
yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes like, is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm black?
Yeah.
It's not every day. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I always try to cross check, and I try to cross check with someone who's unbiased.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna have a bias towards me and you're just gonna be a yes person, I'm not gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Because I can't be out here looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I try to ask someone who is in a position where they have to do this stuff regularly before I speak up on it. I'm gonna say, like, I had to do that one time because they didn't understand like colorism, like what sometimes the different, you know, the age-old argument with light skin, dark skin, or whatever. So I had to educate them, because they're like, but you're all the same, whatever. So I had to educate them why a specific tweet was seen a certain way. So, but it's one of those ones that I had to make a decision, like, should I keep quiet on this or should I reply all and give a breakdown? So I just had to reply all and give a breakdown. It's what, you know what you said about you send links?
Yeah.
There was one time people were not understanding, and that's the thing about working in social media on the front line, right?
Yeah.
So when shit's going down about, I remember when what's her name was on Love Island, people were like, the Twitter conversation was about why Samira isn't getting any love or whatever, or why people think that black women are historically seen as less attractive in the media. So a lot of them were like, why are they saying this? Why are they saying this on Twitter or whatever? And you know, you just had to, I did what you did. You just sent articles to educate people. And I find that we're living in a very fragile world, right? Where you say, people are scared to say stuff sometimes. Or sometimes when people say stuff, it can be, as you said, like someone might be speaking the truth and then all of a sudden someone else is hurt. You're like, But sometimes it's like, I think we're living in a day and age where people are open to hearing stuff. Like it's like what you said. If you send a link, they're open to it. They'll read it. And some people might be like, "Yeah, I understand." Other people are like, "This is absolute rubbish." But it's there.
It's there. Like,
it's there. It's such a good way to do that. Like sometimes you make it less personal. You just be like, "Okay, don't take what I'm saying, but here's loads of other people that have written about it. Do your research."
Dope.
Done.
But let's bring it back to your career and what you've done and what you're currently doing. So now you're the co-host of the Reality podcast.
Yep.
Published on BBC Sounds and linked to BBC Radio 1. So let's talk about how that came about and like the beginnings of that.
Do you know why I'm so excited about that? Yeah,
Go on.
because I'm Zambian, right? My granddad in Zambia, in his farm in the village, he doesn't know what ITV is, yeah. But you say BBC, they know.
True.
So it's like my
course.
granddaughter, like, we sent you to this country and you're actually doing something that we can be a bit proud of.
Sick.
So it doesn't matter how long it lasts. My granddad can tell all the other villagers that she worked for BBC.
That's dope. So how did that come about?
So Raj, who's my co-host, we tagged team a season of Love Island together for the social media on ITV2's social media channels. She worked in radio before that. So you know how I worked in music? She worked in radio for the Asian network. And her old producer hollered at her saying, "Hey, we've got this thing that's come up for reality TV. I'm seeing on your social you're doing this." And she was like, "Yeah, I'm doing that. I know another girl that's doing it too." And then she was like, "Come on, we've got this thing." So I was like, "Okay." I was just on one call one evening. Okay, how do we do this pitch? Came up with some ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we had a call with the producer. And he was like, "Yeah, cool, I'm going to send this." He sent it. The next thing you know, okay, you need to come in for a meeting.
So what was the pitch? Let's
It was just a pitch about a reality TV podcast.
Right, okay.
So
literally
Like a trailer or?
not even a trailer. It was just a pitch.
to talk about reality TV.
It was just a pitch. Yeah, we want a reality TV podcast. How will this work?
Yeah.
Got you.
And obviously, we've been doing that, but in a different realm.
Got you.
So we were like, actually, people talk about this. These are the kind of people you need to get. Blah 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 blah. We came in as producers. So brought in as producers. I was like, girl, like I do social media. Well, I don't know about producing podcasts. Oh, you love it. It's the same. I was like, okay. And then the next thing you know, we're just like, okay, the BBC want to meet you guys.
Dope.
So we're in this meeting with a commissioner, and then we're just excited. You know, once you get into it, you're just excited. You're like, yeah, and we could do this. They could talk about the Kardashians.
Yeah,
and then when it comes to like Love Island, you need to get this person on Twitter, that person on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. So we're just bantering how we would in the office, right? We would just be the loudmouth in the office. I remember one guy left our team to join another team, and he walked past and he said, I can hear you two from the other side. I can hear you guys. Because it was such a good team, man.
Yeah,
we
that's
had a laugh. Like, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
You don't realise it until in hindsight. And I tried to always make sure when I was at ITV to never get involved in gossip. I tried my best. You know, in the end you get dragged in, but I tried my best to not get involved in gossip. Because my mum told me, like, don't be going into no corporate offices and getting involved in he said, she said.
Yeah.
Fair.
Right? So I just turned my blind eye to a lot of things and really enjoyed my team. And they tried to make you feel like included. They were open to hearing stuff like I've just told you guys. It was just a good team. It was the first time in a long time I had felt like, oh, mummy, I'm home. Do you know what I mean? Or is it honey, I'm home?
Honey.
With my bush self. I wasn't born in this country, please.
So BBC commissioner.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know is we get told, like, hey, they go and, as producers, go and find some hosts. So we did our hit list of hosts. Like, we want this person, that person, this person, that person. Like, we were ready. Like, do you know what I mean? We were about to make the sickest podcast. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're so ready. We know who would be great. So we start doing these sessions with different, you know, hosts. And then at the end, our exec producers just like, oh yeah, they want you guys to do a test session as well.
Oh, okay.
So then we were like, okay, we'll do one. And then before you know it, they just decided to give it to us.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. But mainly because I think when you start your own podcast, like you two have, you're invested in it because it's your thing.
Yeah.
But for a lot of famous people that are like presenters and hosts, if it's just another job
They're
to
just
them.
a talent.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
just a talent.
Yeah.
So I think they thought with us, if we get me and Raj are no ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't say like that.
No, you know what I mean?
You're
In
not
the
a
grand
celebrity.
scheme,
Newbies.
we're newbies. We're not like celebrities or anything.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, is going to call and be like, yeah, come to Australia.
Yeah.
But the other talent, because they're on the rise like that, if they get that kind of call, they're gone. And all of a sudden,
Got
this
you.
is
Got you.
left. So they were like, okay, you two seem pretty invested in this.
You're committed to
and
it.
there's banter.
Yeah.
So
You got the energy to take it through.
take it. And I think it's fair to say that we're a bit more invested into it than like, because we haven't come into this industry as talent, we've come in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So when you're behind the scenes of something, you're invested in making it work, right? When you're talent, you've got another job.
Got you.
You're ready.
Yeah.
You've got your Instagram followers. You've got your agent. You're ready. Boom, boom, bang, bang. With us, when you're, behind the scenes, when you're given one project that work, you're like, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last campaign.
Got
So
you.
when it got commissioned, so how does that work? Do they like give you an advance and say, yeah, we're gonna commission you for X, Y, and Z amount of episodes? Or?
Yeah, we knew how long we were commissioned for.
Right. Okay. So it was.
And I learned my lesson, boy, because when I was at uni, I used to tell everyone, I'm doing this. I remember telling everyone, I'm going to have a full-time job in a record company when I've left uni. And then when they kept me 2 days a week and then got rid of me, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So this time, I didn't tell anybody until once it was on that BBC website, even when we were doing our photo shoots, everything, I wasn't telling nobody. Once it was on that, once our first mini intro episode went on our BBC episode, went on the BBC website, that's when I announced it.
Wow.
Dope.
That's because I knew
It was, it's really
actually
there.
happening.
Yeah,
and
fair.
I didn't believe it was happening.
So how does it? Sorry for the listeners. So how does it actually break down in terms of the money? You don't have to tell us how much you earn.
Hey,
But as in, like, how does it break down in terms of, okay, is it like a record deal where they give you an advance and then a percentage of whatever earnings, whatever, I don't know, or like is it like I don't know, 360 deal where they're just chopping some merch or something? I don't know.
Well, first of all, we're not talent that you have a 360 deal. That's like an artist, right?
Okay.
So it works as any other job would work,
Got
right?
you.
You get paid for what you do, right? It works as any other job. So it's
Right.
Is it per episode, per hour?
So I should have really checked how much I'm allowed to say. So no, you. So obviously, we host it. Yeah. So you get paid to host it,
Got you.
and then we produce it,
Got you.
and we get paid to produce it.
Dope.
Okay.
So then together, that makes a sum of money that you get at the end of every month.
Got you.
All right. Okay. So almost per episode. As in per hours in, you put in. As in they won't pay you unless you do it.
Yeah, if you don't produce an episode, what invoice are you sending?
Yeah. So
Is
that's what I'm trying to ask is that are you required to do it like militantly every Thursday, for example, or is it just as you creatively think, okay, we're gonna do an episode?
No, consistency is key, as you guys know, right?
Yeah.
So when we're on, we have to deliver an episode every single week.
Got you.
Right. Okay. Got you.
So how have you found that process? Obviously, starting this podcast, producing it. Obviously now you're winning awards.
Hey.
So yeah, how have you found it? Even meeting loads of celebrities. Like,
Yeah.
how have you found that?
We've always met. I've always worked with
Fair.
celebrities
Yeah,
since
yeah.
even when I was an intern. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
be A-lister.
No, I'm not an. I remember one time, when I was an intern, I remember before Patron was a thing. So I was on Patron from early because there was this particular artist performing at it was a Brits after party that the place I was working was hosting, and on their rider was chicken wings and coffee Patron.
Which artist was this, please?
I'm not telling you. It was chicken wings and coffee Patron, and it wasn't a big thing back then. And I had to go all around London looking for this coffee Patron.
Mad.
So yeah, I've been doing
That's what
celebrity
A-listers.
stuff
That's
from-
what A-listers can be doing.
Yeah.
So you felt comfortable working with celebrities because you've been doing it from early.
I felt comfortable working with celebrities, but I didn't feel comfortable switching from behind the scenes to in front of a mic and in front of a camera.
Well, you
especially.
seem pretty comfortable now.
That's because I know you guys and I just chat bare, innit?
No, as in on your
Watching your
podcast.
podcast.
Is it?
Yeah, man.
Well, that's a facade.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
No, but it doesn't seem like there's, no offense, it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference between you having a conversation in real life and you hosting a podcast, which is a good thing.
I hope so. That's the whole point of a podcast, isn't it? It's a bit
Yeah.
different from like presenting an actual show, right? It's a convers. We try to think of it as an extended group chat about reality television.
Sure. So where do you see it going then? Do you see yourself? Sorry. So it's been commissioned for another series, I'm guessing.
TBC.
Okay.
No, sorry. So it's the same series at the moment.
No, we're in a different series.
So it's series
So yeah,
2.
we were only meant to run for like 6 weeks. So
Oh, cool.
it's been almost a year.
Excellent.
Oh, so you've been on for every episode every week.
Yeah, we just cut down in December. We just did 2 weeks in December. That's it.
Dope.
So you've done 50 episodes.
I don't know what number we're on. You know.
Yeah,
I could-
52 weeks in a year. So.
Well, but it hasn't been a year yet.
Quick math.
It started. It started.
You want to serious now?
It started in June. June
Right, okay,
4th,
so,
I think.
So it will be a year in June.
This is going to be a year in
Okay,
June,
got
yeah.
you.
If we're still going, which I'm positive that we should be.
Amen.
Winning these awards.
Amen.
Tell us about that experience. What award was it?
And what award did you win, and how does it feel like to be
Okay.
an award winner?
We won an award for Best New Presenters,
Dope.
which is an ARIA award by the Radio Academy. And it was mad because listen, you know, like when you guys know, like sometimes girls wear different shoes. So you wear your traveling shoes.
Okay.
Right.
No, do you guys not know this?
I'm not a girl.
What, flats and heels?
Yeah,
okay.
flats and heels.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you must know that certain people wear like their trainers to work and then they change into shoes at work. So I wore my flat shoes, my boots, on the way there with my dress, thinking, let me just change into my swanky heels when we get there. And then before you know it, we're the first award. And then obviously, you know, your girl arrived just on time. So so then they were like, okay, you're up. Like, and then I was like, oh, should I change my shoes?
Did you know you was winning it? Or?
No.
Okay.
We were like, should I change my shoes? Should I not change my shoes? And I was like, there's no way we can win this. I'm not changing my shoes. What's the point of putting all this energy and then being disappointed? But I did say, like, Raj was kind of like, no, I think we've got this. Everyone keeps on saying that we might win this. And I was like, your people are just gassing you. It's okay. But I did say to her, like, okay, who's your top 3? I put us in the top 3.
Okay.
So either way, I was trying to come out with a bronze or silver.
Sorry, can I just pause there? So who are you rated against? Is it just people in the BBC, or is it against?
No, lots of people. Like,
so is it a category?
It was a category. There was like this guy who does Jacob. He does On Drugs podcast.
Right.
Like people who do like big ass like. Oh, let me find it.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's all right. It's all right. You don't.
No, because I don't actually remember, man. Do you know what I mean? You like. Yes, so we were against. Yeah, so we were against people from like The Guardian, other BBC people, Kiss FM as well, Talk Sports. So it was like an industry-wide thing.
Wow.
So I did put us in top 3, I can't lie.
Sick.
I thought, come on, let's come out with a bronze or silver. And then when our names got called for gold, yeah, I was like, huh?
Mad.
The first thing I thought is I haven't changed my shoes. So when we got up there, I was just like, I forgot to change my shoes. If I knew, like, I would have changed my shoes.
Mad.
But yeah, we got gold, and the whole night is a blur. It hasn't really sank in.
No, congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. It hasn't really sank in, and now you're just like there. People from the radio community were there. Like Greg James was hosting. And I was like, oh my gosh. I remember when he said our names, the nominees, like they say, I was like, oh my gosh, Greg James knows who we are now. And then the next thing you know, like we're actually winning.
On stage,
so
mad.
yeah, I almost froze because I was like, what the hell? I don't know these people. I'm not from this industry.
Yeah.
So I was on that stage like, hi. But we made them laugh, so it's all good.
Dope. This goes to show all the hard work and consistency pays off.
Yeah, and it shows you as well, like, you can't listen to those voices in your head. Because in my head, I was so comfortable doing what I was doing. Like, I could tweet with my eyes closed. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I was so comfortable doing what I was doing, that when I started doing this, I was like, I'm so shit. Like, I'm so shit at this. I just need to go back to what I was doing. This is not me. This is not comfortable for me. When actually, sometimes you need to be moved out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it's even given me that internal confidence, as in like, do you know what? You're all right, you know. You can do. You got a little something going on here. You need to capitalize on this.
Sick.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's funny you saying that, but you've always kind of had a radio personality anyway.
To you, but not to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I remember you said that to me when we spoke about it. You're like, oh, I'm not surprised you're doing this. I always thought you'd do something like that. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. So it's not. So it wasn't really a surprise, but it's good that you're doing well. So where do you see it going at the moment? As in, do you think it will stay as a podcast, or is the dream to maybe go to full blown presenting and having shows and etc.?
Jeez, I don't know. You know, I just know that I'm
being videoed, right?
Yeah, we film it. That's because like you guys film it. You know, video is the way forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Video is the way you've got to promote your stuff. We weren't filming it at first. We've had to just figure that out in the last few months.
Yeah.
In the last month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally a month and a half. Where is it going next?
Yeah.
Well,
Where
obviously,
do you see yourself?
I still do social media,
Right,
and I'm in a business with a friend of mine. We have a business called Hybrid.
Okay.
So
Tell us about that.
I'm trying to still do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. I've always, the people that I really love and respect in this world, like Diddy, right? He does his thing. He doesn't let go. Because I was struggling a bit, like, will I still be taken seriously as a businesswoman, as a professional, if I'm also doing this podcast?
Got you.
So that was an internal struggle. But then I thought, actually, in this day and age, you can be your own blueprint. You can do whatever you want to do.
Tell him.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So Diddy was a rapper, and he was a rapper, and he runs the record company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Charlemagne the God, right? Or what do they call him? Charlemagne the God, like, he does so much. He's doing his podcast. He is producing shows. I went to Afrotech and I saw him speak about his journey, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, he's doing so much. He's doing stuff in mental health. And I'm just like, we're not limited to being one thing or doing one thing.
Yeah.
And even Angela Yee, who's on his podcast, she has her own podcast, the sex podcast.
Yeah.
She does the Breakfast Club. She has properties. She does a juice business in New York, right? Getting people healthy. So I'm just like, I'm looking more at the Americans, and I'm thinking like, they're slash people. They're doing bare stuff. So I can't limit myself. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I can have my business. I can still do my social media stuff. I can be part of a podcast, and I can still do other stuff.
Of course.
So what does this business do at the moment? The one which you've mentioned.
Oh, so we do what I've always done. So we create content for, we work with record companies, we work with brands, we work with high profile charities. So it's the same. It's just that I'm in a different position. Instead of doing the work myself.
You're now going to be able to be an expert and hire people to do it.
Yeah, we have a team of people, like we have freelancers, we have community managers, we have social media managers, we have people who do like ads and the reports. Yeah. So it's good. And then I work with Jason, he's the managing director, and we focus on, getting the clients in, working on the strategies. It's just positioning myself differently. Instead of being the person on the ground doing it, I'm just trying to work at a different level.
Okay, at the top.
Well, I suppose it's a natural progression.
Yeah,
where
of course.
The way maybe you've described it, you think that you failed and you've come back. But if you've worked in a company,
10 years in the game,
anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just time to, level up. And so listen, I'm an open book, isn't it? I will take all the blessings, please.
Take them, collect them.
Excellent.
I will collect them and do as much. You know me, I'm active. So
that hustle mentality that you mentioned in the beginning.
I'm active and I'm not slowing down.
Yeah.
The minute you give me one thing, I'm going for the inch.
So
then obviously you being active and doing so much in your you're becoming
career
a slash person in your career. Do you feel that that has or is impacting you in other aspects of your life? Why are you laughing
this
now?
was covered, isn't it? What do you mean?
Why are you laughing now?
What do you mean?
Obviously,
say with your chest. Spit out.
No.
Wow. Wow.
No, what I'm saying is obviously like.
Am I married? No.
I mean, I didn't want to ask that direct, but if that's what you want to ask,
saying.
No, I'm not asking directly if you're married, innit? But obviously,
so what are you asking indirectly?
Yeah, let me land in it. Like,
let me see my drink, bro.
Well, so what I'm asking is obviously with you being so busy and being a slash person, like most people, people we've interviewed on the podcast before, they speak of work-life balance. And with the life part, it's like, doing things recreational, obviously dating, and even things and other things which you enjoy outside of work. So how would you now, describing being a slash person, how has that kind of impacted you on the other side of your life? And have you got any other goals on that side of that life?
So what would I say? Do you know what? I date. Yeah, I do date. I'm not in like a relationship right now, but I date. I'd say the difference is in terms of like dating, that is different. And something that has been mentioned, right, is that because even when I was doing the TV work, it was on a rota basis. So I've never had a regular
9 to 5.
9 to 5. It's always been different. So it's like sometimes you might pre-plan something and then that pre-plan can't happen. But the great thing is that you can always be spontaneous. Yeah, I'm off today. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
Or so it can work. Anything in life can work, right? But you've just got to. But you date people that are kind of similar to you in that sense, right? That they also have. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to, like, say like my little brother, right? He would never be able to date a girl like that because he's got such a set routine. Yeah. He comes home, by 9 o'clock, he likes to be in bed. 5 a.m., he's up. You know what I mean? He might walk his dog, then he's in the gym, and then he goes to work and he repeats it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Someone with a set routine like that wouldn't work for somebody like me. Right. I need somebody who's got...
We're a flexible lifestyle.
Yes, that's what it is. It's a flexible lifestyle. So I can't date a rigid person. That's just what it is. Okay. So does it impact it? No, you still date, but you
the pool's narrow. What do you say?
This is just not narrow.
Well, if you can only date people that are flexible, then you've only got a certain amount of people that. How many people do we know with flexible careers like that?
But I've never had an issue there. I've never.
Your source.
I've never dated a rigid person that's just like, this isn't working for me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I've never ever had that. So I don't know what that looks like. But I do know from seeing like how some of my family work that it wouldn't work for people with rigid lifestyles. Like my brother's rigid. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He needs a 9-to-5 person that's going to work for him. But I haven't met any rigid people.
So pause me if this is getting too personal or edit this out. But do you have like goals, like for example, to get married or to have kids and all that type of jazz?
Of course.
Right.
Of course I want to get married one day to the right person. And sorry if I hit you. I want to get married one day to the right person and of course I want to have kids. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Do you think that will impact you on what you're doing now? Or like have you kind of had a view on your career to kind of mold it so that you can get to that stage, or you think you just worry about that when it happens?
No, I'm gonna work towards it, and that's why I think it's important for me to move from being a freelancer to being an owner,
a boss.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because as a freelancer, first of all, like, where's your maternity?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Second of all, you've got to really like save, and third of all, not everybody is flexible about working from home.
Sure.
So if I move from a in the thingy mentality to an ownership mentality, then really, if I work hard now and we work hard to set that in place properly, by the time I have my children, I should be able to set my rules. And I know me as well, like I really think about, would I be able to sit at home for 1 year? Like, is that going to be possible? Probably not. Do you get? I won't be able to. I need to do stuff. So give me 6 months off. Like cool. 6 months with the baby. After that, I need to be active.
So lovingly.
What do you mean?
I'm joking.
You know, I need to be active again.
Sure,
I need to be in a flexible situation that will still stimulate the mind.
Yeah.
Because my cousin, she's got 3 kids, right? And she was like, by the 3rd kid, she was gagging to go back to work because she could not hear any more baby talk.
Mad.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think in this day and age, we've got to move correctly. And I'm trying to set that up now so that by the time I have a child, I want it to be in a situation where 1, I can afford it properly, and 2, there's flexibility. 3, I won't lose a sense of self.
Dope. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Pilar. We really enjoyed this conversation.
Robert says with the most monotone voice, he's like, bitch, you've been talking too long.
No, not at all. I've just been taking it in, innit? Obviously, you've been doing a lot of the talking. I'm just taking all of the info.
Have I been your most talkative?
I don't know.
podcast
I don't know. Maybe the people them can.
This better be edited down, yeah?
But
imagine uploading 3 hours.
Mad. But how can people get in contact with you, ask for advice and things like that? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Oh, on Instagram and Twitter, I'm Pilar of Society. Pilar spelled Pilar. Hit me up anytime.
Excellent.
I'm here. Or you can just go through these guys. I've got my phone number and, they'll facilitate a WhatsApp or a phone conversation. Or Iman is trying to get me married off. So even potentially a date. Who knows?
Dope.
What do you mean? How rude.
And what about your business? How can people get in contact for any inquiries or hire you guys?
Yeah, so you can just email us. So let me just give you the website, which is hypebrid.co.uk. So that's hypebrid.co.uk. And it's got all our contact details over there. And you can see what we do. And, let's do this.
Excellent. No, it's the Insects podcast. Thank you for listening.